Have you ever seriously wondered what it's like to run towards the edge of a mountain and just fly? Well, in this explainer, we are going to break down everything a first-time passenger needs to know for an absolutely incredible tandem paragliding flight. We'll cover everything from what to wear to what to expect when your feet finally leave the ground. And honestly, that is putting it mildly. This quote comes straight from a pilot's guide, and it is so true. That moment your feet lift off the earth, well, it's unlike anything else. It's this incredible mix of adrenaline, awe, and just pure freedom. It can feel intense for sure, but preparing for it is the absolute key to enjoying every single second.
So, that's the big question, right? And that's exactly what we're answering today. We're going to walk you through the whole experience, from what to wear to what to expect during the launch, the flight, and the landing, all from your point of view as the passenger sitting up front.
Okay, first things first, let's talk about what you need to wear. And no, this isn't about looking good for the camera, though you will. This is all about being comfortable and, most importantly, safe.
This is probably the #1 rule to remember. You might be sweating on the launch hill, but once you're in the air, you're cruising at around 30 miles per hour. That wind chill is no joke, and it just gets colder the higher you go. So layering up isn't just a suggestion, it's pretty much non-negotiable. Believe it or not, your shoes are the single most important piece of gear you're responsible for. You're going to be running on uneven ground for takeoff and maybe for landing too. Sturdy, over-the-ankle hiking boots are your best friend here. They can save you from a twisted ankle. Anything with an open toe or anything that could fall off, like a sandal or a heel, is an absolute no-go. And to finish off your flying outfit, you'll definitely want a good windbreaker to cut that wind chill we were just talking about. Durable long pants, like jeans or hiking pants, are perfect for protecting your legs. And trust me on this one, even a light pair of gloves makes a world of difference in keeping your hands from getting all numb and cold up there. All right, let's switch gears and talk about how you're gonna feel. A lot of people worry about motion sickness, but the good news is it's totally manageable with just a tiny bit of prep. Here's a super simple 3-step plan. First, if you get car sick, maybe take some non-drowsy motion sickness meds about an hour before you fly. Second, have a light snack. An empty stomach can actually make you feel a little queasy from the adrenaline, but so can a huge, heavy meal. And third, here's the best pro tip for when you're in the air. If you start to feel even a little bit off, just fix your gaze on the horizon. Don't look straight down and try not to stare at your camera screen. So what about physical fitness? You know, people sometimes think you need to be some kind of super athlete to do this, but that's just not the case. All you really need to be able to do is run for about 10 to 20 meters. That's like 30 to 60 feet across ground that might be a little uneven. That's it. Okay, now for the main event, the flight itself. We're going to break it down into 3 simple phases, so you know exactly what's happening from the moment you take off to the moment you land. Let's bust the biggest myth about paragliding right now. You are not jumping off a cliff. Let me say that again. You are not jumping. You just stand on a gentle slope with your pilot, and when they give the word, you both start to run forward. As you run, the wing inflates right above you, and after just a few steps, it gently, and I mean gently, lifts you right off your feet. So this right here, this is the most crucial instruction you will get. Your pilot is going to shout this, and you absolutely have to listen. As that wing fills with air, it's going to start to pull, and your natural instinct will be to stop running or to sit down in the harness. You have to fight that urge. Just keep your legs moving until you're clearly flying and your pilot says, okay, you can sit back now. The second you're airborne, everything changes. The rushing sound of the wind is mostly gone, and it becomes, well, surprisingly peaceful and quiet. You can actually talk to your pilot in a totally normal voice. And that harness that felt a little bulky on the ground, it now feels just like a super comfy armchair or a swing, but with the most incredible views you've ever seen. All good things have to come to an end, but don't worry, the landing is just as controlled as the launch. As you get close to the landing zone, your pilot will give you some really simple commands. You'll stand up in the harness, get ready to run a few steps as your feet touch the ground, or sometimes for a softer landing, they might just have you lift your legs up and do a gentle slide in on the grass. Super easy. All right, let's quickly cover the important but kind of boring paperwork part. Because paragliding is a federally unrecognized sport in the US, there are just a couple of formalities to make sure everyone is safe and covered. You will almost certainly have to sign a waiver from the United States Hang Gliding and Paragliding Association, or USHPA. This is totally standard, and it just means you acknowledge that, hey, this sport has some inherent risks. You might also need a temporary membership, which your pilot usually handles, just to make sure you're covered by the site's insurance. And this brings us to the most important rule of all. Your pilot is the pilot in command, or PIC. That's an official aviation term, and it basically means their word is law. Their instructions, especially during those critical moments of launch and landing, are for your safety, and you have to follow them instantly, no hesitation. Whew, we have covered a lot of ground. So let's boil it all down into one final, simple checklist so you can walk up to that launch feeling confident and totally prepared.
Here it is, the final rundown. Shoes, sturdy, closed-toe. Got it. Eye protection. Sunglasses are a must for wind and sun glare. Sunscreen. The UV is way stronger up there than you think. Mental prep. Repeat after me. We are running, not jumping. And last but not least, safety. Your helmet stays on and buckled until the pilot has the wing completely packed away on the ground. Simple as that.
Before we finish up, there is one last command you really need to know. It's the most important safety call you might hear on the ground, and it is not a reason to panic. If your pilot yells this, it just means something in the setup isn't 100% perfect. Maybe the wind shifted funny or the wing didn't come up quite right. All you do is stop dead in your tracks and wait. It's a standard safety procedure to prevent a bad launch. It's actually a sign of a really safe and cautious pilot, not a sign of a problem.
So there you have it. You know what to wear, you know how to prepare, and you know what's going to happen during every single phase of the flight. The myths are busted, and you know the reality. Now that you know exactly what to expect, the only real question left is, are you ready to run?